up on this. If you don't like people, maybe you shouldn't be in the customer service industry. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you don't like people. Find another job. And that's what we're chatting about today. I'm going to offer some lessons in customer service. Or, more frankly, as a career coach and hairstylist who formerly worked behind the chair, I will offer lessons in customer service. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. I'm your host, Deirdre Haggerty, certified career coach and founder of Coaching with Miss D, which offers life coaching and career coaching services to align your career with your values and vision of life. And maybe customer service isn't part of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I am so excited you're joining me today to have a conversation, coffee in hand, as we chat about life, careers, relationships, and all the little things that can shape who we are. I won't lecture you, maybe today a little bit, or tell you what to do. It's just the two of us in my cute little coffee shop behind me, chatting about topics that make us laugh or drive us nuts, except today. I'm offering some advice, some lessons on ideal customer service. Starting with how I opened this segment. If you don't like people, stay away from the industry. I get you might need a job. This may even be your first job. There is nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I don't think I can do this. And if you're unsure, take a career quiz. Now, I'm going to have one that I have in my show notes that you can see. It'll be at the bottom of the show. It'll be in the comments. That career quiz is a little iffy because it might ask for money. Don't give it money. You can still get the results without supplying a credit card. The results will come to your email. However, I am also creating one for my website. That will be up probably by the end of this week, if not next week. It'll be worth it because, and you can, all I ask for is that you subscribe to my website for access to it. But it's worth it because if customer service is not your thing, I get it. I've been in it for 30 years. And there are times that I promise you I was not my ideal self, okay? It's trying. It really is. But you just have to really give it your best because the word is customer service. You are servicing the customer. And if you don't have that in you, then, maybe find another career. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I'll give you an example, really quick example. I use because my husband and I are old, we still use a cable network. We don't just stream. I just got the side eye from him. We don't just stream. We still use a cable networking provider because sometimes I like to watch my programs live and I like to record it, not maybe wait the next day until it, because then people are maybe saying stuff online, whatever, and I don't want to wait the next day for specific shows to air. That's old school. We used to sit around the TV and watch it, and they weren't black and white, but we used to sit around the TV when shows would break for if it was Thursday night and it was Friends, or if it was when we were little kids, Happy Days. Wow, that just dated me. So my DVR was not working properly, and I went on their website to address the situation, and initially I got a bot, and the bot couldn't help me. So then I had a person, and to be honest, I wasn't being very nice to the person because at this point I was frustrated. I had already been online for about 30 minutes. Nothing was working. Everything they said to do, I tried. It wasn't working. And I work from home, and now they had shut my internet off, and they were interrupting my dinner. I'm trying to do all of these things. I'm trying to work, all of this stuff at the same time. I kept reminding the person who I was chatting with, we've been online for an hour. We've been online for an hour and a half, and now we're approaching 2 hours. And to this saint's virtue, she said boo to me. I'm sorry. And I wasn't rude, but at some point I stopped annoying her because I realized maybe this was her first day on the job and she was doing a great job. I was trying to give her a little grace. And if you're in the customer service industry, you want to give the person that's in front of you a little grace. Customers aren't always going to be lovely, but we want to give them the best of us. And if that's something you can't do, find something else. Number 3, the power of the first impression. How tone, body language, and promptness set the stage for the entire experience. And I want to give you a couple of examples in this because this is something that's very important to me. First, we'll talk about professionalism as a hairstylist, right? Just because that's what I'm I don't want to say most knowledgeable about, but I've had vast experience in. Something I taught as a teacher, as an educator, and as the school director, because you want to put out the impression that you know what you're doing. You want to look the part, you want to dress the part, as in any business, and you also want to treat people with kindness. Now, let's talk about promptness for a second. When I took a job as a spa manager, there was a customer service manager there who was sitting in my office, and when I arrived, she thought I was a customer sitting in the office. And I walk in and I hear, like a voice in the wind. Hi, can I help you? And she has no idea I'm there. She wasn't expecting me to be there. I'm her manager. And I'm like, sure, yes, you can help me. Because now I'm a smartass. Why are you not sitting at this front desk? And where are you? And oh my God, what have I just walked into and said that I'm taking this job? And she's like, oh, okay, do you have an appointment? I said, yes, I do. She said, what's your name? And now I'm standing in the doorway of my office while she's sitting at my computer. Now, granted, she did not know I was coming that day. She was using the room. That's fine. She could use the room. I don't care about that. But she looked at me and she was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Don't do that. That's just a no. That's just oh my goodness. How are you addressing a client that you're supposed to be checking in, welcoming in? You're asking them their name from another room. You're supposed to be doing somewhat of an intake on them. Oh my goodness. That's the promptness. Unfortunately, sometimes we're on the phone, we're dealing with other things. You could just, I'll be right with you. There's so many things that you could do and say in moments of when you're busy helping other people. That was a big one. That one drove me nuts for a little bit. Active listening. Understanding what customers really need versus what they say they need. I'm going to say that again. Active listening. Understanding what customers really need versus what they say they need. So this is something that maybe not can happen right away unless you're a very good listener. But if you're not sure what the customer is saying, if you're unsure how to focus between what they really need versus what they say they need, that's when you ask a lot of questions and you just keep digging. And if you feel like you're asking too many personal questions, you could say, okay, so I just want to clarify, just so I can get a better understanding of what you need. Because I want to give you the best possible service today. Whether you're in the beauty business, the spa industry, or you're the clerk at ShopRite who you go up to and you're saying, this didn't download to my app, this coupon. And they're like, well, first you have to... Did you even hear what I said? I did download it. You have to download the app. Do you know what the app is? What? Pointing to the app right here. Like, there's the app right there. And I pointed and said it didn't download. So that's just an example of trying to figure it out by listening. And active listening is you're asking questions to clarify if you can't figure it out. Okay? empathy in action, responding with patience. Oh my goodness. And compassion, even when customers are upset. Their emotions have nothing to do with you. I'm going to say that again. Their emotions have nothing to do with you. Do not take it personally. It could have been somebody who helped them previously. It could have been on the way over. They could have heard something on the radio that pissed them off. They could just be having a bad day. For all you know, there could be a death in their family. Their emotions at that moment has nothing to do with you. You just have to meet them where they are and realize it's not about you. Now, this is easier said than done. It takes a lot of patience, but it is unbelievably important, and it just helps when you're in customer service to not respond negatively to what somebody else is saying because it's not about you. I know it could be frustrating when somebody's yelling and they're in the midst of like blowing a tantrum and you're feeling like, oh my God, this is coming at me. No, it's not coming at you. And I'm going to give you another example. Same place, same woman who was sitting in the office, heard me interacting with a client. It was an older gentleman. Yes, he was older than me, and his wife who was suffering from dementia. And I'm very cautious with that because that has affected my life personally with my own mother. And he's upset about something he was sold. It had nothing to do with me. He was upset. I could clearly see he's upset. He's telling me about his wife with dementia. So I'm just trying to calm him down and be understanding. This other person hears this from the back room, comes running up because she was the person who interacted with him last time. And now she's arguing with him. Oh, no. I'm a really nice person. Now this man went from me calming him down to here to woof, he's right back over the edge again. Afterwards, I said, what did you do? Why did you do that? He's suffering. His wife has dementia. He was calming down. Oh, yeah, but I don't want you to think that was about me. I said, I don't care if it's about you. You made him worse by arguing with him. It had nothing to do with you. And I had mentioned, it's hard for people who are dealing with their family members who are going through their dementia, Alzheimer's. I said, I totally understand that, and explained to my mom what happened with my mom. Well, my grandmother died of Alzheimer's. Okay, so then why aren't you understanding what's going on with this man? So that's empathy in action, right? It doesn't matter that this man was upset. What matters is how you're responding to him. And let's not lose this man as a customer or his wife. He's dealing with something that, unfortunately, too many of us are dealing with. Accountability, number 6. Owning mistakes. Accountability. Hugely important. It builds loyalty and how to turn error into opportunities. So it's just, you don't even have to call it an error or a mistake. It's an opportunity to build. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. It's how we learn, right? But we don't, here's another example. Customer service. Yeah, listen, I've forgot a lot of examples. I've been a hairstylist for 30 years, and plus I'm 57. I'm going to tell you about my dentist. This was great. So I had an appointment recently, and she tells me, oh, your deductible has run out for the year. Your cleaning, you're going to have to pay for my next visit. And I said, that just was weird to me, right? I've never had to pay for cleanings with this insurance. So why do I suddenly have to pay for cleanings? I've had this insurance now for 5 years. Plus, I'm 57. I've been married over 36 years I've been married. I've had multiple insurance carriers. I have never had to pay for my teeth cleanings. So I called the insurance company, and I had to also check on the work that I'm having done and, when I can have this work done, that it would be paid for and how much it would be paid for moving forward. And then I brought up the cleaning. She goes, what? No, you don't pay for that. I said, I know, I didn't think so. So she gave me all the information about the other thing, gave me information about that. I called the dentist back. And the woman answers the phone. The first person who answered the phone was the hygienist. And I go through my whole spiel and she goes, Mrs. Haggerty. Oh, no, I'm the hygienist. I'm like, I literally said to her, why didn't you tell me that? Oh, I didn't want to interrupt you. You didn't want to interrupt me, but you let me go on with my whole thing. So we giggled about it. I wasn't mad at it. I was laughing at it. She puts the receptionist or the office manager or whoever runs their front desk on the phone. I explained to her the situation. She's like, well, just so you know, some insurance companies do charge for cleanings. And I'm like, so many things I wanted to say. Like, I'm not new. This isn't my first rodeo. I've been here this amount of time. I've had this insurance this amount of time. I've experienced this. Like, I didn't say that. I was just like, okay. It was an unnecessary comment. Whether she made the mistake of not reading the correct information from where she got it from, which is what the insurance company told me, that the information where she gathered my insurance information from was not the way to go, that you have to do yada, 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 and this stuff. So whether she didn't want to own that mistake or maybe didn't want to own that she read it wrong, the way to approach that situation was, oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to worry you. Because we were talking about a hefty bill about a tooth implant. So now you're tacking more money on there. So, yeah, so there's nothing wrong with saying that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you. So simple. I didn't mean to worry you. Number 7, going beyond expectations. I do enough for these people. Well, if you feel that, then you should not be in customer service. That's just an easy fix, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with that. As a career coach, this is what I do. I teach people, like, if this job isn't for you, that's okay. Going beyond expectations. Small gestures that turn a satisfied customer into a loyal customer. I don't know, what could that be? They're coughing, and you go and get them water. You can see something's upset. It's upsetting them. You have a conversation with them. You're shampooing their hair and water is dripping down their back. You put an extra towel down their back. I don't know. There's so many things. Small little gestures can just truly, you recommend somebody. You hear them talking about something. You don't tell them what to do. Oh, well, if you're open to this idea, I have someone who I would love to recommend to you. There's so many ways to do this. But I feel like we've gotten into this entitled me world where everything is about me. Everything is about me. And it's not. It's about the customer you are servicing. That's why it's called customer service. Internal customer service. Now, I did, if you've ever seen any of my TikToks or my YouTube shorts, or I do a real quick sip on this. I talked about in one of them, the work bully. How do you deal with the work bully? Especially if they're like a little chihuahua. This is what I would call internal customer service. How you treat your colleagues. You have to treat your colleagues well. That improves the entire service chain from top to bottom. And I don't like to say bottom, so we'll do more of a linear from manager to customer service and whatever happens in between, because that's going to be given back to the client. When there's a lot of toxicity, when there is a lot of jibber jabber going on about people, when the front doesn't work with the back, when there's constant talking about the other person. Like, I want to be in that room, and I know you've all seen the meme. I want to be not in the room, or I want to be friends with the person who, when I'm not in the room, they're talking good about me. Not as soon as I walk out of the room, they're just no. That's just, that creates such a bad environment, and the customers see it. They do. You might not think they do, but they do. And they hear it too. Gosh, they hear everything. Communication clarity, number 9. Avoid jargon. Let's keep your responses concise, confirming, and understanding. People know when you're selling them a bag of goods. They know. They know. They are fully aware. So just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. I don't want to say the term. Just keep it all simple. I'm not saying that somebody can't understand it, but when you start just throwing the bull at them, they know, and they're going to walk out the door. Emotional regulation. And this goes back to this person before. Just keep your emotions out of it. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Trust me. It took, and I'm not perfect. And I'm not saying I haven't lost it, because I have. And I'm sure there's people who, maybe somebody who's watching this now has seen me lose it. I have. I absolutely have. Not a good moment for me. Not a good look for me. I had a boss, a regional director, who said, not to me, but for like in an overall, not because of something I did, but it was like overall. You want to always behave, even in a room of 2 people, like somebody's watching, like you're on stage, right? And that's not that you're being fake, but it just means like, well, imagine you're acting in a way and your mother's watching that, or your child, how would you feel? How would you feel? Staying calm under pressure, and again, don't take it personally. Don't take negativity personally. If you can't control your emotions at that moment, there's a couple of tips I have for you. One I just heard from my hero, Mel Robbins, which is breathing. So you take 2 inhales through your nose and a long exhale. So that's an automatic calm to your nervous system. Automatic calm. And you do that a couple of times, right? Another is taking a sip of water. That pause automatically, I knocked my book over. That pause automatically gets you to take a breath, take a sip, realize I'm not in a good mood. I'm not in a good place right now. And even walking away. It's better to walk away and just turn to a colleague. Hey, can you help me with this? And walk away. And even if the customer's like, oh, that person, who cares? Let them. They're going to go home. And if they're really that miserable, then let them go home and be miserable. Just don't let it affect you. Feedback. People don't like feedback because they get all nervous and they get all worried. And it's like, oh my God, but using criticism to improve is a great tool. You can improve the systems at work, products, relationships. Take the feedback. Maybe in your head you say, I know that. Maybe, you know what, I do know that. I forgot to implement it. Oh, you know what, I didn't know that. It's all good. Be in it for the long game. Consistent service creates good reputation, trust, and business growth. So if you decide that this is what you want to do, then just try and adapt these principles. It's going to be difficult. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. Trust me, I know it's not easy. I've seen people who are so patient and they start out in customer service. I'm like, wow, you're unbelievable. You're such an asset. Like that's a great thing to start out with, and then the rest of this is going to come easy. And for some of us, it's not. But if you see yourself in any of these scenarios and you're like, oh yeah, I've done this, I've done that, then maybe it's just not for you. And, finally I'm going to leave you with, no, man, the customer is not always right. Oh, she just said that. Yeah, I did. I did say the customer is not always right. I was getting annoyed with the wireless provider yesterday. I almost said the company. And then I reeled it in. And they were great and they were patient. But I wasn't right. I was impatient because I was dealing with a lot of things at one time, cooking dinner, doing some work stuff. Not always right. However, prioritizing their satisfaction is crucial to business. No, they're not always right. But prioritizing their satisfaction is crucial to business. Yes, sometimes we're going to have to fire that client. Once in a blue moon it happens. Sometimes there are reasons, which I'm going to go through now, that somebody should be red flagged or not allowed in your business, okay? That's going to happen. But as a general we're going to prioritize their satisfaction. Now, here's when they are not right. When they are providing misinformation or unrealistic expectations, like, for instance, when I was a stylist, right? And somebody would show me a picture of, let's say, I don't know, who's a gorgeous celebrity. This is a popular one that I used to get pictures of all the time. Jennifer Lopez, and I want my hair to be this color, or I want that style. There were times, I'd look at the picture and and I'd have to examine it, and that's when I would go into my earlier step of really asking questions. Okay, well, what is it about this picture that you like? Let me know, because maybe that hairstyle isn't going to work with this client's features. Maybe it's not going to work with their coloring. And maybe I need to have a conversation because the color they want is really going to hurt the integrity of their hair. Kim Kardashian going from black to platinum. How many times I'd have to explain to people the steps and what happened and, how long that took. It didn't happen in the pictures that you saw online. It just didn't. And so you want to offer suggestions. And then if it's really something that's going to interfere with the hair's integrity, then I just wouldn't do it. And I would explain to them, you know what, this would be a corrective coloring, for instance, and it's going to cost yada, yada, yada. It's quite expensive. However, I can maybe offer you these options where you can get there gradually, where it's going to keep the integrity of the hair and the health of the hair. But I would tell them why. It's just what you do. And if they insisted, well, I'm not going to do anything that's going to create damage, but maybe I would have done that haircut and, I'll do the haircut and then offer tips on styling just so the client kind of knows that I am doing my best to do whatever it is I can for them. Kindness, empathy, and compassion should always be present, especially listening. Active listening is key. Even if you're more knowledgeable than the client in that subject matter, you want to get down to what they need by asking these questions. You should never tell a client or a customer that they're ignorant. What else? Abusive behavior. Ethical or illegal requests, which I have witnessed and I have heard about. So you absolutely, that's just something you don't tolerate. Okay, you shouldn't. So that is our chat for today's episode of Sip on This. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your coffee or your water or your tea with me. And if something resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future conversations. If you are changing careers, would like to take the career quiz, need to repurpose yourself at work, or grow your own business, visit my website, coachingwithmissd.com. I could also help your business grow and work on if you do love people and you want to help and you want to be of service, because helping people is something you love, but you may be quick to anger. A career coach can definitely help you through that and map out some actionable steps to achieve your goals. check out the show notes for the other career quiz while we're waiting for mine to appear to see if customer service is for you. And until next time, keep sipping, keep growing, and remember to live your life as your authentic self, your version